Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Movie Deputy Reviews, where we are talking about the fight of the century. Now, is it an actual fight? No. But if you caught my show about a week or so ago, I did the whole Paris versus Melania because they are both opening this weekend. If you have not had a chance to check these out, you are... I can't necessarily, you're missing a lot, but you're not... It's a very sticky situation. Honestly, I want to go scorched earth on both these movies for different reasons. Now, if you've been listening to me for very long, you know that I am a constitutional conservative. And so I'm trying to approach these movies neutrally. And that it's going to reflect very much in my scores on these. Now, what does that mean? Well, obviously, if you are on our YouTube channel, you know that we are starting with the movie Melania. And this is going to be a rare day because you're going to want to stick around because Melania is going live at 8 a.m. And then Paris Hilton's Infinite Icon is going live at 9 a.m. So you're getting two reviews today. But these ones, they are so drastically different, but they're both very powerful women in different ways. And the message that is conveyed is polar opposites of each other. Now, what does that mean? That, again, I want to kind of get into a little bit more about the movie before I kind of explain why I'm holding back on going scorched earth on both of these movies. As movie deputy, I dealt with a lot of threats and things like that a few years ago because of some of my takes on some things. And so as much as I personally want to say, and I might say in public and when I'm talking to somebody one-on-one, you're going to get my full opinion. You're going to find out what I really think about these movies, and you're going to get my full, honest review. But I have to be careful of my wording on some things because there is going to be a lot of hate on both of these reviews. I mean, like it or not, I can recognize what's going to happen. I've gone less scorched earth on other movies and have had my inbox full, top to bottom, page after page after page of hate. And, that's part of it. I am here giving my opinion on these movies. I'm here rating these movies for you and just to try to help. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to see Melania and they're like, oh, I don't want to see that. You really don't know. People have automatic assumptions in their head, and they listen to the mainstream media, and they listen to some of these other critics, and I'll touch on that later. I normally don't pay attention to some of the stuff the other critics say, but I couldn't miss it. It was just all over my feed today. And so I'll be sharing a little bit of that with you, at least off of this movie later in the program here. Now, I do want to share with you the review or the trailer for Melania. If you are not familiar with the movie, Melania it's a story of the 20 days prior to the 2025 inaugural celebration. And it's the 20 days leading up to that, and it's her life as she is going through, and she's a wife, and she's a mom, and she's this business person, and she's getting everything ready. She's making all these decisions for the White House, and she's juggling 10 different things at the same time. All the while, she has this poise and this elegance to her that a lot of people miss because they don't see past part of her modeling career from years ago. And it's ridiculous. Honestly, it really is, because if I go all the way back through history, I mean, you could go all the way back to George Washington. He was our very first president of the United States of America. You go from him all the way forward. We have never had a first lady like Melania. And you may be thinking, yeah, right. No, seriously, she is fluent in, I think it's 6 or 7 languages. She has friends and connections all over the globe. She has done negotiations aside from Trump to help get some hostages and stuff freed. She is working so hard to invest in foster kids and invest in children in a way that's really never been done before. And she's got all of these different programs and all of these wonderful things that she's involved in. And people just can't get over either her accent or they can't get over the fact that she's married to Trump or whatever it is, but they are missing who she really is. And that's honestly is really sad, and it's a shame. But let's jump into the trailer, and then we're going to come back and talk some more about this movie.
Here we go again.
You can come in. Good morning. Perhaps legacy will be that of peacemaker.
Peacemaker in the fire. Beautiful. Together with like-minded leaders, we have a voice. Is it safe?
It is safe.
Everyone wants to know. So here it is. Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
Simply one of the most iconic first ladies in history, one of the most beautiful first lady in history, the most poised, one of the most intelligent. I mean, she just blows. If you take the time to understand her, if you take the time to learn about her, if you take the time to even just put the most minimal of effort into something, you realize that she is all substance. And that's one of the things that I'm kind of comparing and contrasting with these movies is these movies came out on the same weekend intentionally. Now, that was not Amazon or Melania, but that was like the other story that we're going to be talking about today. And the fact that it was everything was rushed to kind of get it opening to compete with this one. Because how could they ever have a conservative woman and have her story outperform a pop star? If you couldn't guess, that was being sarcastic. It just blows people away, and all people are talking about, well, she was a nude model. That's it, modeling. When you are in the modeling industry, if you really want to go very far, you're going to end up posing nude, and it's not that big of a deal. She's even said she's proud of the pictures. They're beautiful. They're modeling though. It's not like she was like advertising some porn information anywhere. These were professional modeling images, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. But yes, if this is your first time hearing that, yes, that very much is the case. And my two comparison contrast things with these two movies is one of them has all substance and very little flash, and one is all flash with very little substance. Now, it's pretty easy to figure out which is which. This is the substance one. This is those 20 days. You're watching her, and she's going from their home in Trump Tower to Maralago, and then she's going in and out of the vehicles, in and out of the planes, and meeting with the designers, and meeting with the people who are planning the White House, and meeting with the stuff for the inauguration dinner, and just kind of everything else that's going on. She is just constantly on the go, but it's very businesslike. It's no nonsense with her. You're not going to get the silly haha. You're not going to get, this is not something you're going to want to watch for laughs. This is history. This is a major piece of history, and we are being invited in to see this from the First Lady's perspective, which we've never done before. She is setting the bar so high for what she's doing, and it's going to lay the framework for everything from here forward. And a lot of people aren't even thinking of it from that angle. And I myself, I can't help but think of it from that angle, because that's just kind of how my brain works. Now, at times, is this slow? Yes, but we're watching it as it's happening. We're not watching anything Hollywoodized, or they're not trying to add any glitz or glamour to it, because she is the glamour. She doesn't need the glitz. She is the glamour. Technically, I mean, their penthouse is kind of glitz. I mean, I make the joke regularly if I'm watching something on like HGTV that it's white on white on white. in their home, it's gold on gold on gold, but that's Trump's favorite color. And, it's their design choice. It's their home. That's perfect for them. Like, people walk into our home and they're like, it's dark, it's gloomy. Well, we like dark, rich colors, and we've got really dark floors, and we've got blacks and dark woodwork and stuff everywhere. And people are like, oh, I would never choose that. It's like, good for you. We love it. So that's all that matters. But Melania just really goes so much further than you would expect, because you get to see her interaction with Trump. You see her interaction with Barron. You see her interaction with their staff and everything. It's a level of respect and a level of just professionalism that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a first lady. And to see how all of this goes, and to see how she carries this all out, and with the poise and grace that just, it sets her apart. And now I will say, I am giving Melania an innocent rating. There's nothing inappropriate in here at all, in any sense of the word, for younger viewers. This is just, it's completely appropriate for younger viewers. They might get a little bored, as it's very prim and proper in how it's done. It's very, like I said, very professional, very poised, very graceful in everything that they do. And you watch up to the 20 days, and you see the day of the inauguration, and you see them from the time that they basically wake up until the time that they're just like, I'm going to bed. And that had to be such an exhausting day for any president. Exhausting, going, and you see the transfer of power, and you're doing all of this, and they're explaining how the transfer of power happens between the Bidens leaving the White House and when the Trumps are coming into the White House. And it's all just done so well. It's not an edge of your seat where you're like this, but you don't want to miss a moment of it, because it just has a flow to it. And when it's all said and done, you're like, we are so lucky. We are so blessed to have her as our first lady. And then it goes into some information in the credits of things that she has done as the first lady. And I was just in awe, just watching all of this. Now, I will say, if you are not a fan of conservatism, if you are not a fan of Trump, if you are not a fan of basically a lot of the things of this administration and things like that, you're not going to get a lot out of this movie. I encourage you to go to it still, because you learn a lot about Melania, because you want to see it from this perspective, because this, you're not being fed it from these other news agencies. You're actually seeing it. And they're not just telling you about it, they're showing you. So it's not just, oh yeah, she's doing this, and this. No, it's here she's doing this, but here's the proof that she's doing this. And then here's this of how she's doing this, and here's this of how she's doing that. And it's her meeting with other people as well, and that she's had that impact on them, that have had an impact on her. And all of this plays a part. So you may be wondering, okay, but where are you at score-wise? It's like I said, I'm innocent, but it's like, where am I at on the score? This, I am going to upset a lot of people on, because, like I said, it's slow. It's all substance and little flash. There's nothing exciting. It's one of those things that you were glad that you watched it, but there's no like big bang boom, anything big and spectacular or flashy to kind of just go, wow. And I was fine with that, but I also know, staying true to the deputy scale, judging stories just based on that. Sorry, I gotta get a drink here. Dying of thirst. My traditional white mug, for anybody that knows me very well. Yes, I do wash it every day, in case you're curious. But back to this. Score-wise, I want you to remember how the deputy scale goes. 7 is watchable, memorable, plot with questionable content. 6, watchable, decent story, some flaws. 5, watchable, decent story, significant flaws. 4, watchable but forgettable. 3, if you must see it, wait for DVD and Blu-ray. You may be thinking, okay, why did you go over that large of a span? Because, like I said, this is not going to be a story for everybody. There's going to be people that are bored watching this. It's just how it is. Like I said, it's very upscale. It's not like nose in the air upscale. It's not like, oh, I'm better than everybody else. Of course, I'm exaggerating that, but it's not to that level. But it's not not everybody's going to feel comfortable watching something like this. But at the same time, I encourage them to. But the thing is, I have to take that as it is, and I have to judge it based on the deputy scale. And you maybe think, but why do you have to take all of that into account? But the thing is, that's how I do it. I judge everything based on the movie deputy scale. And honestly, if I look at it that way, and I look at the fact that it's all substance and no flash to it, as amazing as this is, and as amazing as she is, of course, I mean, I'm a conservative, so maybe I see a little bit more of that than an average person might see. But her love for this country, her love for Trump, her love for her family just goes so above and beyond. And her love for children basically everywhere is so above and beyond. I had to give her credit for that too. So where am I at on the score? I am coming in on the deputy scale. And like I said, this is going to surprise some people. I'm giving this a 5.25 out of 10. Now, I can hear you all gasp from here. Literally, I can be at the... But if I was just judging this on a personal level, I would probably give this a solid 7, easily. But being the fact that this is not relatable to everybody, that this is going to lose people because the fact that it was done in such a professional, poised, graceful manner, there's going to be people who are like, okay, I want the nitty gritty. I want the behind the scenes. I want when she gets mad or whatever and throws a pillow at somebody. I don't know if she actually does that or not. It's like, that's a thing like I do. It's like, I'll just throw a pillow if I get upset. But kind of like projecting that onto that. But like I said, everything that you see here is poised and professional. Man, that probably is her all the time. I mean, she grew up in Slovakia. I always get that name backwards in my brain, so I apologize for that. But then she went away to become a model, and she learned that everything she had to do was this poised, graceful self. And that continued on and followed her into this. Now, she is a legal immigrant. Now she is a United States citizen. She's married to the president, of course, but before she married the president, she did become a United States citizen. So I want to put that to rest because I've had some people that I've got an argument with that over recently. I don't know how. But I want you to be sure and stick around. I always say to make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get the latest and greatest. But like I said, today you're getting 2 reviews. We are here talking about Melania, and we're going to be right back here today talking about Paris. Now you may be thinking, okay, but why are you doing this like this? Well, I want to show the compare and contrast between the 2 women, between the 2 stories, between everything that is going on. So I want you to take away something here. I want you to take away that she is this poised, professional, beautiful woman who is also a businesswoman, a mom. She is completely put together. She knows what she wants in life, and she makes it happen. And if it's something that she's running into roadblocks, she reaches out to other people, other women, other wives around the world. The Queen of Jordan, the Brigitte Macron of France, a lot of these other people, and you see them in this documentary as well. So I hope this has helped. I encourage you to check this out, even with this. Consider the score I gave you, but consider the story. Please consider the story in this as well. And as always, I will be back again soon. But like I said, check this out. You're going to be glad you did. Bye-bye.